I'm messing around with a few harmonics here. They're kind of fun to play with, especially on some of these higher end guitars, because the harmonics, everything come out so clear. Very basically, speaking of high-end guitars here, we're here to talk about humidity and the general care of your guitar. The more expensive the instrument, the touchier it's going to be. What a lot of you don't understand, especially you early players just getting started, is you can't just put your guitar anywhere and leave it alone and expect it to be fine. Some of you that live in Arizona and Nevada, we get guitars in here all the time. I mean, the necks are warped, the face is dropping, all the variations. The warranties, now this is not only with Zagers, it's any of the Taylors, the Martins, the big ones. The bigger they are, the more touchy they are. And you're going to find that the warranties on these guitars, Martin, Taylor, Zager, the whole group, you're not under warranty for a situation where you neglect your guitar. Humidity can totally destroy a guitar. This goes either way. The main problems we have, like as I said, in Arizona, Nevada, it's too dry. And naturally, we're up against cracking here, all kinds. Like Martin will say, well, we'll warranty our guitar against a crack and we'll fix it, but we won't say it won't happen. Well, the bottom line is it happens to your guitar and you don't want it to. I suggest as far as storage, you should have a case. Our guitars have humidity gauges and temperature gauges, so forth, in them to guard against this. You should never drop below 40 to 45% humidity. If it's below this, a lot of times our things, they'll go blank at 30%. A lot of people call in and say, well, my humidity gauge isn't even showing anything. Well, you're probably in trouble there because you haven't got enough humidity. Now, we can go the other way also. You don't store your guitar in the basement ever, because that ends up being too much. You get woods that warp in that category. So either way, guitars are touchy instruments, especially the fine ones. Now, if you got a $20 guitar, it's probably not going to bother it much. But like the Zagers, we set them up so they're so precision as far as height and everything. And if heat variations come in, humidity and so forth come in to change this, you can have real problems. And but as I wanted to stress too, ours aren't the only guitars, and anything that has to do with wood is going to be affected this way. If the case is always the best, way to store this. Your case is going to protect it from heat and cold. For example, in the cold weather, you can get small little cracks in it from just extreme cold. If you have a case around the instrument, it protects against the cold in the way that a lot of people don't understand this. It's the sudden changes that cause the cracks. If, let's say you left it out in the car overnight, and oh my God, get it in the morning. The worst thing that you can do is open that lid right away and heat it up. You set it in a warm room and let it heat up gradually in the case. This way, all your changes take place gradually, and you can avoid probably 95% of your variations that take place simply by keeping it in a case. The thicker the case, the better. And as I said, I'll stress the humidity things. All of our cases have the humidity gauges in them, and this can be your salvation in many ways. Some other things that will show on your guitar, for example, an individual will call in and say, well, all of a sudden my frets are sticking out. They're real sharp, and these are all signs of lack of humidity because the wood is changing. Now, naturally, the metal doesn't change, but the wood does change, letting those frets stick out more. The face of your guitar can vary a great deal if it's warped and you leave it in the basement. or any place, really damp. Certain states like Florida and stuff, it becomes too humid. There are certain days, like here in Nebraska, where we're filming this at this time. There are certain days here that are just so humid. My guitar sounds like it has a damp cloth sitting on the face of it. It's just not moving. It's just a turnoff. There's nothing live about it. It kills every note that you play. It's very frustrating. Your fingers stick to the fretboard. Very frustrating to play in humid situations. We always used to dodge the outside because of humidity and things like that. We didn't play Woodstock on account of it. we had a chance and turned it down the week before. We had played an outside thing. It was a nightmare. So when that came up, well, it wasn't supposed to be a big deal. And we had a chance to play it. They wanted us to come out and play, and I'm not playing outside. Live and learn. But back to where we were in this situation. The guitars are very fine pieces. You could see the fine edge, the whole thing. It's all affected by humidity and a lack thereof. So watch this really closely. It can make a world of difference on how much problem you have with your instrument in this particular way. You can't shield your guitar completely from it, but you can avoid a lot of the problems. Keeping in mind too, let's say your case does not have a humidifier in it. You can buy one for $15 at the music store. Online you can find them all everywhere. Let's say you don't have $15. Take a plastic baggie and stick a sponge with water in it inside that baggie and leave it just a little bit open. Stick it in your sound hole. That will humidify. It's not all that complicated. So think about this. Review over this tape many times, and you'll find that you can avoid a lot of problems with your guitars. So listen to this tape many times, as I said. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.